I'm going to go over our Unit 10 review on polynomials. So this first bit of the review is asking us to fill out a chart. When I write it in descending order, there's nothing to write other than the 10. Because it's just one term, it's called a monomial. And because there's no exponent, the degree is, because there's no variable, then the degree is 0. Okay, when I write this one in descending order, it's 3x minus 5. And because there's two terms, it's called a binomial. Since the highest exponent is a 1, it's degree 1. Okay, this next one was already written in descending order because it went from highest exponent to lowest. Since it has 3 terms, it's called a trinomial. And since the highest exponent is a 2, it is degree 2. Okay, I want to start with the highest exponent, go to the lowest. So it should be x to the 4th minus x cubed plus 8x squared minus 6. And since it has 4 terms, I just call that a polynomial. 4 or more terms is a polynomial. And since the highest exponent is a 4, it is degree 4. And then this last one, it's only one term. So I had nothing else to write other than that one term. And because it's one term, then it's called a monomial. Okay, going through these next 2 problems here. Let me just look at one at a time, so I'll cover this number 2 up. So when I look at a problem like this, I look to see, are my parentheses smushed or not smushed? Smushed or not smushed? And since they're not smushed, then I'm not going to distribute the 5x squared with everything and the 3x with everything. I just look to see if there's anything outside the parentheses to distribute, and since there's not, I just combine like terms. So I start by combining my x squareds, which make 8x squared, then I combine my x's, which makes a 2x, and then I combine my constants, and that makes a negative 2. So when you're looking at a problem like this, you want to see if parentheses are smushed, not smushed, smushed, not smushed. And if they're not smushed, all you have to do is see if there's anything to distribute, and if there is, distribute it. If not, you just add or subtract like terms. The parentheses in this problem, they mean nothing. Okay, number 2. So I do the same thing. I look to see, are my parentheses smushed, not smushed, smushed, not smushed, and they're not smushed. I look to see if there's anything to distribute. There isn't. So the parentheses mean nothing. I just combine like terms. So first I combine my e squareds, which makes a negative e squared. And then I combine my e's, and that makes a positive 2e. Okay, when I look at number 3, I do the same thing. I look to see parentheses smushed, not smushed, smushed, not smushed. They're not smushed, so I then look to see if there's anything to distribute, and there is a negative to distribute, or you can think of this as a negative 1 if you so desire. So first thing I did was I distributed the negative 1. And when you distribute the negative 1, all that does is it just changes the signs of everything inside the parentheses. And then there was nothing to distribute for the front part of the problem, so I just dropped all of that, and then you just combine like terms. Add and subtract your like terms. And when you do that, you get negative 2y squared plus y minus 3. Okay, number 4. I look to see, are my parentheses smushed, not smushed, and they're not smushed, so I'm not going to be distributing all this, but I do have a negative to distribute, or you can think of it as a negative 1. And when you distribute that negative 1, that makes a negative 2d and a negative 5. I just drop whatever's down in the front set of parentheses, and then I combine like terms. There's no other d squared besides this, so he just drops. I combine my D's, and when you combine the positive 5 and the negative 5, you get 0. Shoop! Constant, gone. Okay, number 5. Because I have a number smushed against the parentheses, I am going to distribute, which means multiply the outside number with everything inside. And if you do that, you get a negative 24x minus 15. On number 6, same situation. I have something smushed against the parentheses, so I'm going to distribute. I'm going to multiply the outside number with everything inside. And half is easy to work with. Half of 8 is 4, and x times x is x squared. And half of a negative 6 is negative 3, and x times nothing else is still just an x. Number 7. I have something smushed on the outside of the parentheses. So I distribute it, I multiply it with everything inside, and the answer you should get for that is negative 3ab cubed minus 4a squared b squared plus 6a cubed b. Okay, number 8. Since these parentheses are smushed together, I know that I am multiplying, so I'm going to double distribute. I'm going to distribute the d with both things in the back set of parentheses and distribute the 2 with both things in the back set of parentheses. And when I do that, I come up with this. And then I can combine the 5d and the 2d there in the center to give me a 7d. Having fun so far? Hopefully somebody is watching this. Okay. Moving on. Number 9. I look, I see my parentheses are smushed, so I know I'm multiplying. So I'm going to double distribute. I'm going to distribute the 2x, and then I'm going to distribute the negative 5. This is what I get when I do that. And if you combine your like terms in the center, that makes a positive 7x. Number 10. Same situation. My parentheses are smushed, so I'm multiplying. So I'm going to distribute the 4a, and then I'm going to distribute the 3. This is what you get when you do that. If I combine like terms in the center, I get a positive 2a. And then everything else just drops down. Drop, drop. Okay, number 11. I can see that my parentheses are smushed, so I know I'm multiplying. And so I'll distribute the 5x with everything, and then I'll distribute the negative 2 with everything. When I do that, I get this long stretch here. And then I just start combining like terms. And when I combine like terms, this is my final answer. And I always put highest exponent to lowest if I have the opportunity to do that. Now number 12. Because I have a sum, I have a plus sign in the parentheses, I do not get to just raise everything to that outside exponent. I am going to write this twice, and after I write it twice, I just double distribute like I did on several of those problems up above, and your final answer should be x squared plus 14x plus 49. Okay, number 13. I look and I see, and I have my parentheses smushed. So I'm going to multiply. So I start my double distributing. And this is what I get when I do that. And then if I combine my like terms in the center, a positive 110xy and a negative 110xy makes 0. Shoop! They're gone. So you just bring down the 100x squared and the negative 121y squared. Okay, number 14. Same thing, parentheses are smushed, so I'm going to double distribute. This is what I get when I double distribute. If I combine my like terms in the center, a negative a and a positive a makes 0. Shoop! They're gone. All you're left with is a squared minus 1. Okay, moving on. Number 15. The negative 3a is smushed against parentheses, so that I will distribute. This plus 5a, I'll just drop it. So I distributed the negative 3a, and then I just dropped the positive 5a. And then once I do that, I can combine my a's, and I get negative 6a squared plus 41a. Number 16. I have two different things to distribute. First, I'll distribute the 4m, and then I'll distribute the negative 5n. So this is what you get when you distribute. And then none of these are like terms. You can't combine any of those. So that's the answer. Okay, number 17. This is an equation. So I know that if I ever have an equation that if you have parentheses, you have to distribute to get rid of those parentheses. So first I distribute the q, the 20 I just drop, then I'll distribute the 2q. So this is what you get when you get done distributing. And then I need to start getting things on the same side. So I noticed I had q squared, so I decided I needed to get a q squared off of one side. So I subtracted the 2q squared. Both of these made 0. Shoop, shoop. So I just dropped down what was remaining. And then whenever you have the same variable on opposite sides, you have to move one of them. So at this point, I moved my 3q by subtracting it. And then that gave me 20 equals a negative 9q. Then I divide both sides by negative 9. And that is my answer. Q equals negative 20 over 9. Or if you gave me a decimal, it's approximately a negative 2.2. Okay. Next page. All right. First, I found the area. I find area of a square by either taking a side and squaring it, or I can do length times width. And because I know a square has 4 congruent sides, the length and the width are the same. And then I just double distribute. And then this is the answer that you get for area. Perimeter, I just add up all sides. 5x plus 2 plus 5x plus 2 plus 5x plus 2 plus 5x plus 2. Or I can just take 4 times 5x plus 2 and distribute and get the 20x plus 8 that you see right here. So either add up the 4 sides, or because all 4 sides are the same, you can take the length of a side times 4 and you'll get your answer that way. Okay, this one. I'm just going to show it to you, all of it. If I want to find the area of this sidewalk, I find the area of the whole kit and caboodle, the whole thing, and then I subtract the area of this garden. So, to find the area of the total, I took 2x plus 1 times 2x, and you'll see my work over here for that. To find the area of the garden, I took the x times the x plus 1, and you'll see my work here. And then I have to subtract. And the main thing that I see students forget is that if you ever subtract more than one number, you need to put parentheses around everything you're subtracting, and then you'll need to distribute that negative. And then this should be your final answer. Okay, I'm going to move on. If I'm moving too fast, you can always pause me. Okay, next one. We haven't ever done one quite like this. We've talked about volume before, length times width times height, and those are my dimensions, my length, my width, and my height, but we've never actually multiplied three things together like this. So you can do this several different ways. The way I chose to do it was I decided to multiply these two first by double distributing. When I double distributed those, this is what I came up with. I combined the x's in the center, and I got the 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. So that was the length and the width, but I still have my height. So I dropped my x down, and then I have to distribute that x with everything that I already got. And when I do that, this is my grand total. So we haven't done one like this, but you have the skills to do it. Okay, final page. All right, this one wanted to know the area of the shaded region. If 9x squared minus 6 was the total, and x squared plus 2 was the unshaded. So I take the total and I subtract the unshaded. Because I'm subtracting more than one thing, I have to put parentheses around everything I'm subtracting, and I have to distribute that negative. And then I combine like terms. Okay, 22. This one, it told me that the shaded section had an area of 6x squared plus 5x plus 7. And then I'm trying to find the total area. So if I want the total area, I'm going to take the area of the shaded section, and then I have to add it to the area of these four corners. And so each of these are a 3x by 3x squared. So 3x times 3x is 9x squared. So if all of these have an area of 9x squared, that's 36x squared total in just the corners. And then I add that to the area of the shaded piece. And then I can combine my x squareds. And when I combine the x squareds, voila, I get 42x squared plus 5x plus 7. Okay, this next one. I hope it didn't get you. It wants to know the expression for the amount of fencing needed around the yard. Well, the fencing is just going to go here, here, and here. You won't put fencing here because that's where your house is. So it's just going to be 2x plus 4x minus 5 plus 2x. So it's not all four sides this time because this is where my house is. Okay, and if I want to know how much sod I need to cover the yard, well, that's area. And so if I want to find the area of my yard, I just take length times width. And when I multiply my length times my width, then I distribute. I get 8x squared minus 10x. And there it is. There's your video for your review. I hope you all do well on the test tomorrow. Have a good day.